Is it visible?
Yeah, go ahead, Purva.
Thank you. So to start with the topic, first I would like you all to give the basic background of Centralized Processing Center. So as the name itself justifies, what is CPC? What is Centralized Processing Center Bangalore? It is an we in layman term we all can say it is an AI tool which is initially was established with a view to enable the centralized processing of all the returns. Earlier, the all the returns used to be in a paper form. We used to file the returns with the department. For all the work, we had to go to the department to get all the work done, and it used to take a lot of time of the taxpayer as well as of the department also. So the basic, the main motive was to hello, hello.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Perfectly audible.
Perfectly
Thank
audible.
Thank you. So the basic motive was to enable the centralized processing of all the e-file returns. So it was introduced and approved by the Union Cabinet in February 2009. The initially the main motive was to processing of returns, rectification of mistakes, outstanding demands, adjustments, appellate proceedings, a service of notice, communication, sending communications to the taxpayers, issue of refunds, etc. The technical advisory of the department has stated that they will go for the detailed processing of the returns without any human interface and in jurisdiction free manner, because it will be all on the income tax CPC portal. So it will be it will be in a jurisdiction free manner. So how CPC is beneficial to the taxpayer as well as to the department? Because after initiation of the CPC, taxpayer can get the easy and fast results of the income tax refunds. I have seen the returns where the returns are processed within a minute or so, and the refund is getting credited to the bank on the same day itself. This is possible all because of the centralized processing which the CPC has enabled of the income tax returns. So department has experienced the less burden of pre-assessment because the pre-assessment is done via 143.1 intimation on the portal itself. And the whole primary report of processing is automated. The CPC notification which are sent to the all the taxpayer regarding the intimation, regarding the demand, regarding the adjustments, these all are computer generated. The CPC helps validate all the data provided in the income tax return with the detailed data available in the taxpayer's file. Now, what is taxpayer's file? We'll see in a minute or so. Like all the data from various departments are reported on the taxpayer's PAN number or Aadhaar number. So from there, the department collects the data and verify it with the income tax return filed, which is called as primary assessment. After the income tax return is filed, the automated process again calculates the total income and loss, etc. It creates a comparison like what is the return filed by the taxpayer and what is the department is calculating. The majorly like if we see for all majority of the returns, they verify it from the AIS, TIS, SFT responses, 26 AS, etc. Now the comparison shows whether any difference is there in the income tax return that assessee has filed, the deduction assessee has claimed, and what CPC considers in his primary assessment. If a CPC finds any deviation, like say for example, if I have claimed any TDS credit, which is not reflecting in Form 26 AS, so that is a deviation that CPC catches. So they send the taxpayer 143(1)A proposed intimation, like propose adjustment to the intimation. Before processing of the return, they give an assessee option to file the response, but that response is also restricted. Like you can file only yes or you can file only no. That is the response, and that has to be filed within 30 days of the intimation. Like once you get the intimation of 143(1)A, then you will have to file the response on the income tax portal within 30 days only. If assessee don't file the response within 30 days, the intimation or under section 143(1) gets processed after 30 days. And if I file the response is considered by CPC, and then intimation is processed and sent to the taxpayer. Now, if I say 143(1) intimation, because the CPC was mainly formed to process the returns. So processing of returns, that primary assessment, the 143(1) intimation is generated. Now, what is 143(1) intimation? we will have two columns as provided by the taxpayer in the income tax return and as computed under section 143(1)(a). So we'll see three type of intimations which are generated by the CPC. The first one will be the with no demand and no refund. Like I have like the basic written, I have claimed no refund. There is no demand payable, and CPC has accepted it. Then the primary assessment is completed. Then intimation with no refund and no demand. Intimation determining demand. If we see majority of the intimation with demand are because of non-given of credit paid by the assessee. It can be any credit like TDS, TCS, advance tax, self-assessment tax. It can be due to many reasons, but majority it is because of this reason. And the last one will be the intimation determining refund, that assessee has claimed the refund and the department has given the refund. So department has granted the refund. So intimation determining the refund will be generated. We can define the same with the colors also, that intimation with no demand and no refund will be with the blue outline, intimation determining refund will be with the red outline, and intimation determining refund will be with the green outline. Now, if we say the parameters for processing of the returns which CPC considers, like what are the parameters CPC considers for processing of the returns? Initially, first, if we say basic, then it will check the arithmetical error in the return. Like if there is any arithmetical accuracy, CPC will check that. Secondly, if we say there is any discrepancy with the heads, for example, if I say the claim of an item in the return which is inconsistent with the other head of income, to explain this, if I say while determining the income from business profession, I have deducted FD interest or bank interest or capital gain income, and I have not offered the same in respective heads like other source or capital gain, then CPC will immediately catch that you have deducted the income in the business profession, but you have not offered the same in the other source or capital gain or any respective head. This CPC will catch. The second would be if I am setting off any loss of a financial year for which I have filed a return beyond the time period, then I should not be set. I will not be allowed to set off the said loss. But if I am doing that, then CPC will catch that also. Or if I say in a tax audit report, I have disallowed some amount, and but in filing of return, I have not considered it. CPC will catch the same and disallow the same amount in intimation. So on the next two slides, we'll see the email IDs and phone numbers I have provided, how we can contact the CPC for, like, if I have any query, if I have any doubt, if I have any issue, then I have to contact to the CPC. Like we have the they have provided us the department wise numbers for, say, if I say I have any issues related intimation, rectification, demand, refund, income tax forms, filing of return. For these, they have provided the numbers and email IDs like e-filing web manager @incometax.gov.in, or any technical issues are there which are not resolving, then we can contact orm@cpc.incometax.gov.in. For any AIS, TIS, SFT responses, response to e-campaigns or e-verification, they have given us the different number. For PAN 10 application updation related issues, they have given us the different number to contact. For any tax credit, 26 AS TDS related queries, for form 15 CA processing, they have given us the different numbers. And I would say the facilitation for a resolution of outstanding demand, the demand facilitation center, this would be the very important to the today's topic, demand facilitation center, because demand facilitation center itself handles all the queries or issues related to the demand. If I'm getting any mail, or if I'm getting any calls from demand facilitation center, I can call back to them and update on my situation. Or if for example, if I say if my specific year's case is in scrutiny, still the demand will reflect on the portal, but I can call them and update them that my specific case is in scrutiny, or appeal is going on, or I have paid the demand. I'll have to give them some proof. So demand facilitation center will always help us to update on the demand factors. So tax demand @cpc.incometax.gov.in would be the mail ID on which we can provide them the details regarding our case. So I have prepared this slide. Like from as I said earlier, the department verifies the data of a taxpayer's file. So what is in the taxpayer's file? That is, if we can bifurcate them in one-side communication and two-side communication. So two-side communication, we can see GST portal, Traces portal, NSDL portal, Civil portal, ICAI. These are the two-way communications. Like they provide data to the income tax portal of the taxpayer because it gets registered on their PAN number. Same ways, income tax portal also provides data to them of the taxpayer. So, for example, if GST is providing data to me of a taxpayer, so if we say when we file return of income, we have to provide the details like what is the turnover as per GST. We'll have to mention that if I'm filing return declaring the business income, I'll have to mention the GSTN number and GST turnover which I have declared in a GST. So this is the two-way communication, two-way transferring of details of a taxpayer. But if I say any banks, a registrar, state registrar, CDSL, CAMS, IRDA, stock exchanges, RBI, there is a one-way communication. Like they provide the data to the income tax department. That is not a two-way communication. Like the state registrar is providing data to the department income tax portal, which for example, if I have purchased any land or sold any land, I'll have to do the registration. And when the registration is done, I'm sharing my PAN number there. Immediately they will share the data with related to the PAN number this assessee has purchased the property or sold the property, which can be seen from our AIS, TIS, and SFT responses. So I have prepared a summary of issues faced by the assessee. Like 13 or 14 issues. I have prepared a summary which we will discuss one by one in the next slide. The first issue would be a satisfactory solution to be provided for grievances raised in income tax portal. Currently, if we see the responses offered for the e-grievances filed on the portal are inadequate, lacking the comprehensive solutions. Moreover, there is a recurring issue of incorrect solutions being provided disregarding the factual aspects of the cases, even when the taxpayer has furnished complete and accurate details. Like if I say I have seen the cases, I have experienced the cases where resolution is resolved just by stating that attachment is not there. But if I say in real, I have provided the attachment, I have provided all the details, but the grievance will be resolved stating that the attachment is not there. Or if I say I have filed any grievance, say suppose today regarding some matter, after till 2 months, 3 months, grievance is not resolved. After that, I have filed another grievance. Then the second grievance will immediately get resolved, stating that the too many grievances for only one problem. Like that, grievance gets resolved without providing any detailed explanation. For that, what we can do is, if it is related to any demand, we can raise a grievance to AO. Say for example, for current year or past 4 years, from current year or past 4 years, we have an option to communicate to CPC because the rectification rights are with CPC. If we go beyond that, like earlier years, the rectification rights are transferred to the assessing officer. So we'll have to involve the assessing officer. But if I say last 4 years or 5 years, so I can contact the CPC portal because the rectification rights are with them. So we can raise a grievance to the CPC or the assessing officer with more detailed manner, like uh, more if they are saying that they're not getting the context, I'll have to explain it in the more detailed manner, or I'll have to contact to the AO. If it is of the earlier years, we can always call the CPC help desk number and try to get it resolved from them also. Demand rectified by AO, not deleted by CPC. Now, what is the issue that we face? Like the cases, there are cases where the assessment order has been passed under the scrutiny assessment, say, or appeal matters, but the OGET order giving effect is not considered by the CPC, due to which the demand still reflects on the income tax portal under section 143(1) or 143(3), and interest is being charged by the CPC portal. And hence, even if the demand is rectified by the AO, it is still not considered by the CPC, and the refunds of the next year still gets adjusted because CPC is an AI tool. If we say there is not person to communicate to, So they will, if system is showing any demand, they will, the refund will get automatically adjusted. So it is the loss of the taxpayer because the demand is rectified, but still refund gets adjusted and interest is being charged on that demand. So what we can do in that case, we can inform the demand facilitation center. As I said earlier, demand facilitation center is there to help us out to resolve the demand. If I call the demand facilitation center, I can provide them the documents like rectification order, assessment order, or if I have, say I have paid the demand, I can provide them the copy of challan. And the demand facilitation center also sometimes helps us to get in touch with the assessing officer also. Demand facilitation center also contact the assessing officer regarding the same matter. We can do that also. We can file, what other options are available. We can file the grievance attaching the copy of assessment order, rectification order, and requesting the CPC to rectify the demand. And we should always file the response to outstanding demand reflecting on the portal with the copy of paid channel, or they give us the option to upload the copy of order also. If the order is passed, they give us the option to upload the copy of paid channel and copy of order, etc. If we see, we have an option available on the income tax portal to file the request for rectification of order passed by CIT. Now this option is restricted to CIT only. Say if, for example, if the order is passed by the ITAT authority, honorable ITAT authority, but we don't have option to file the request to give order effect to the ITAT's order, but we have the option. If the order is passed by the CIT, we can on portal under service, the dashboard, we have an option to file rectification of order passed by CIT. Then that will be considered by the CPC, that order is passed by CIT, so they will give the effect to the same. The another issue faced is various demands for a single year and the response to demand is not being considered. As I said earlier, we should always file response to the demand, reflecting on the response to outstanding demand option. But in many cases, the response filed by us is not considered also. So in that case, what we can do is, so if I have seen the cases where for only single assessment year, 2 or 3 demands are reflecting. One under 143 one option, one under 143 one only for the interest option. So we can contact the demand facilitation center and get it resolved. If there is an incorrect interest charged, we can recalculate the interest. If there is no outstanding demand and still interest is reflecting, we can intimate the demand facilitation center and we can file grievance also. But if we contact the demand facilitation center, it gets processed with a shorter period as compared to the grievance, because on demand facilitation center, we can talk to a person and explain them the matter. So they will contact their technical team or or our jurisdictional assessing officer and get it recalculated. If I have done that, like if incorrect TDS is calculated, the revised TDS, incorrect interest is calculated, revised interest will be calculated, and the demand will be updated, like shorter or like in that way. Processing of income tax return and proposed adjustment. Income tax return processing is being conducted in an automated manner. Regrettably, the taxpayers' filed responses to the proposed adjustments are not taken into account, and there is a lack of acknowledgement or explanation for the rejection of the taxpayers' arguments. As I said earlier, when the CPC processes the returns, 143(1) is sent to the taxpayer. If there is deviation, is found out by the CPC portal. But in many cases, what happens is the responses filed by the, if I file the response in a positive, like if I'm agreeing to the deviation, it will catch by the CPC. But if I say no to the deviation, many cases it is not considered by the department. Many cases CPC does not consider and processes the return with the demand, like not giving credit and determining the demand. In that case, to get it to get a positive response, what we can do is the processing of income tax return is electronical is a good initiative, but in many cases it is leading to the unnecessary adjustments when the CPC system declines the taxpayer's objection. Like when, as I said, that if I file no to the deviation, then it is crucial that the CPC should explain that why it is not accepting my no to the deviation. In the said event, what we can do is we should file the response to the proposed adjustment. Obviously, we should always file response to the any notice, any communication sent by the department, and we should do it within the time limit provided. We should always do that. The department considers it or doesn't consider it, it's a secondary part, but we should always file response, and that too within given timeline. So we should firstly we should always file response to 143(1)(a). Still they are processing the intimation with demand, then we should file the rectification, because it would be for the current year only, that 143(1)(a) is not considered, and intimation is processed with the demand, then we should always immediately file the rectification to the said intimation. The another issue that I have seen is 139(9) defective notices are sent indiscriminately by the CPC. So I have seen the cases where the income shown in the return, like CPC is sending the defective return notices if income as shown in 26 AS is more than the income shown in the return of income. Like in 26 AS, my TDS and income is reflecting much higher or a little bit higher than what I have offered in the computation of my computation. See, this can be due to many legitimate reasons, that my TDS is more or less. There are many reasons to this. Only because of this, the 139(9) defective notices should not be sent by the CPC. But at present scenario, these are being sent by the department. Income tax department may, what ideally should be done is income tax department may select the case for the scrutiny to verify what is the correct claim, what is the correct amount of income, or what is the correct amount of TDS. The scrutiny can be initiated for that, but 139(9) defective notices should not be sent. But the department, as I said earlier, it is a AI tool. We cannot fight there with any person. Like, why you have sent 139(9) to me, because there can be many valid reasons. But if they are doing it, we should immediately file a grievance to it or a rectification to it, because online portal we have these options. Further, I would like to bring you to the notice that the CBDT has notified Form 71, which is a which taxpayer can use to correct the wrong TDS deducted. For say for example, if the income relates to the current year, but the TDS is reflecting in next year. If I reverse the situation, the TDS is reflecting in current year, but my income is of next year. That time I have an option in the return that I can carry forward the TDS, and like I can carry forward the TDS, and then in next year I can claim the brought forward TDS. But I had no option till date, like if the income is reflecting in the next year. So the income is of current year and TDS is reflecting next year. So till now, what a taxpayer had to do is to contact the party and then get it rectified and TDS return revised. It used to take a much longer time. But now that CBDT has notified the Form 71, wherein if the TDS is reflecting in next year, which belongs to the current year, you can file the Form 71 and claim the TDS in current year itself. Issue regarding release of refund. Now we file the income tax return. The return gets processed, intimation is sent to the assessee, but refund, when it comes to the issue of refund, releasing of refund, many a times refund gets rejected. And when refund gets rejected, this can be due to many reasons, such as incorrect bank details provided on the income tax portal under the profile option or in the income tax form. Account holders KYC is pending. PAN Aadhaar linking is pending. If we say now PAN Aadhaar linking is pending, then the PAN becomes inoperative. And if PAN is inoperative, the refund will not be released. So what we can do is, as a taxpayer, what we can do is, we should always keep our bank account details KYC compliant. Now one more thing now department is considering is the name as per PAN and name as per bank should always match. If there's a difference of A also, they will reject the refund. So if the name as per bank is correct, we'll have to get it changed in the PAN, and name as per PAN is correct, we'll have to get it updated in bank. But the name as per bank and name as per PAN should always match. If I say if I give you the example, many a times what in bank details the name is Sanjay Bhai Patel, but in bank but on PAN it is Sanjay Patel. Then refund will not get credited. It will always get rejected. So we'll have to do updation of correct details. And we should always file the refund ratio request. Many a times due to technical error, we can see that the refund ratio request is reflecting more than once. So we should always file both the request, both the options. We should file the request, and we should always make sure that the PAN and Aadhaar is linked, because once the PAN is inoperative, no refund will never get credited to the bank account. Now, regarding the adjustment of the refund, at times refund is adjusted against the demand in total, but still reflects on the portal, resulting in the continuous adjustments. Like to give an example, my refund is my demand is, say for example, for 1,000 rupees demand is reflecting on my portal, and my 22-23's return refund is adjusted against such demand. Still, demand reflects on the portal, resulting in my 23-24 refund will also get adjusted uh, against such demand, and interest will continuously being charged on such demand. So this issue also we face. This is a very common issue, and we all face this kinds of issues. So we'll have to, for rectification of original demand, so we'll have to contact the jurisdictional assessing officer only, because it depends on the for which year the demand relates. So it relates to the earlier years like 9, 10, 15, 16 or so. We'll have to contact the jurisdictional assessing officer for rectification of demand, or if it relates to the nearby years like 20, 21, 22, then we can file online rectification. But to get it nullified, if the demand is adjusted also, to get it nullified, we'll have to contact to the demand facilitation center, that we'll have to provide them the copy of challan. Nowadays, if demand gets adjusted, the challan is generated on the income tax portal itself, that the under 400 the demand is adjusted. So we'll have to provide them some details or a supporting document that the demand is adjusted, so it should be nullified there. At least next year's refund will not be adjusted for that. And for issue of that adjusted refund, we'll have to contact to the respective authorities only. But at least we'll stop getting calls from the demand facilitation center regarding payment of demand, or further adjustments of the refund. Now, this is also a major concern, that stay granted on the demand is not considered by CPC. As we all know, like if I file an appeal, when the demand is disputed with the higher authority, I have filed an appeal, so I can pay the 20% of the disputed demand and can receive the stay order on the disputed demand until the appeal is concluded. To pass the stay order on the disputed demand, it is a circumstantial depending upon the higher authority. But if I have the stay order on the disputed demand, then there is no option on the income tax portal, CPC portal, to intimate them that I have the I have this stay order with me, so the refund should not be, or the demand should not be, interest should not be charged, or the refund should not be adjusted to that. So what we can do in such situation is we can file the response to the outstanding demand. Obviously, there also we get the option to give them the details that I have filed the appeal, or I am in the appeal. We should also contact the demand facilitation center. We can also file the grievance for the same. And one more thing, what we can do is we can approach the jurisdictional assessing officer and request them to raise the flag in the system to intimate to the CPC that we have granted the stay, and the demand adjustments will stop soon. Now, another one is amounts directly considered from the audit reports without any verification. As I said in the parameters, the amounts from where the CPC department considers the amount. To illustrate this, if I say the due date of submitting the tax audit report is 30th September, and to file the return is 30th October. There's a 1 month gap between the date of filing the audit report and date of filing the due date of filing the income tax return. So in tax audit report, we all have to report if the employer has not paid any employer's contribution to the statutory provident fund under 43 under section 43B of the Act. The said amount, the auditor has to report that he has not paid. But if we say, but if the amount has been paid before filing the due date of ROI, uh, that will be allowed to me in my computation of business and profession. But however, CPC will not cross verify the same that you have paid the amount within that 1 month's gap. CPC will not verify that. Ideally, CPC should verify that, but it will not verify that, and it will directly consider that in tax audit report you have the auditor has disallowed the amounts under 43B. For example, under 43B, auditor has disallowed the amount that you have not made the payment, but you have not disallowed the same in the income tax return. Your computation and CPC will disallow the same and generate a demand. For that, what is the current possible solution we have is we can file the response to the proposed, or definitely CPC will send us the 143 a proposed addition. So we should always file response to the same, or we can, in this case, we cannot file the rectification online, because in online rectification, we do not have that option. So what we need to do is, we can write a letter to the jurisdictional assessing officer in that matter, because on income tax portal we can raise a grievance also. Like what best possible we can do is we will get a positive response if we do that. We will have to file the grievance also, but if we say reprocess the return, if we file the rectification under reprocess the return, it will be of no use, that because they will consider the amount disallowed in the tax audit. The second option available is of TDS TCS credit mismatch, which is again of no use in this particular situation. So what we need to do is we need to file the letter to the assessing officer along with the valid documentary proofs. Again, the another issue is communication address updating. The taxpayer, another like the taxpayer is not getting communication. We have an option under the on the income tax portal under the profile to update the income mobile number and email ID. The taxpayer is not, even if we update the same, the notices relating to the scrutiny or appeal are still not getting on that mail ID. Reason being, I have contacted the CPC regarding this, that I have changed my mail ID in the CPC portal, but still the notices are not being sent to the revised mail ID. But why so? The reason, the answer which I got was, I'll have to write the letter to the assessing officer also to update the email ID in their records, because as long as even though the scrutiny assessments are conducted in the faceless manner, somehow it is connected to the AO's records, and the mail ID which is in the AO's records or mail ID which is in the income tax form, it will be considered by the department. And just updating the profile section will not be sufficient in case of e-proceedings. And it is always necessary to update the records and to keep in mind what mail ID we are providing in the income tax form and to AO's records, because if I say in 910 what mail ID I have provided will be the mail ID will be used by the department to send the notices. And in many cases, best judgment assessments are passed, but the taxpayer is not aware, because he is not aware of the notice issuance of notices only. So we should always keep in mind, and if needed, we should always write a letter to the assessing officer also to get their records updated. If by any chance we have provided any incorrect mail ID or mobile number in the returns also, so we should get it always rectified from the AO's records also. So if we say like in scrutiny assessments and appeal matters, now it is being conducted in the faceless manners. While uploading the submission, if we say in add response option under e-proceedings, you will see the notice. Okay? In submit response, you will get the add response options, where you have a limit of size also and number of attachment also. Like you can say 10 files you can upload at a time of 5 MB only. If I say I'm in an appeal and I have to file the paper book to the higher authority, the paper book can go in a number of pages, resulting in the size of the my submission would be in the, sometimes it could be in 1 GB or so. So I have to break my submission in number of parts. It gets and I have to consider the size limit also, like 5 MB I have to consider. So it gets like 20 parts, 25 parts, 23 parts, but at one time I can only upload 10 files. This is also one limitation we face while filing response to the department in a faceless manner. But they have given us the one more option of add response button. We can file the first 10 files in the first, and then we can file add response. Then we can mention that the in continuation of my earlier response, I'm filing another 10 files and another 10 files. Like that we can do. This is the one drawback that we have, but we can overcome it by going to add response button. Now this is a very common and very serious concern. The taxpayer has paid the tax under incorrect head of challan. Now what earlier what every bank had their different formats of paying the challan, and taxpayer was not aware of the heads of the challan. For example, if I have to pay the self-assessment tax, suppose I'm filing the income tax return, I have to pay the self-assessment tax, then I'll have to file pay under the head 300 self-assessment tax only. But if I have uploaded the return as a payable, and then I'm paying the challan, then I'm not allowed to pay under the head 300, even though it is a self-assessment tax. It will get converted from self-assessment to the demand. Then I'll have to pay the challan under 400, minor head 400. And taxpayers are not aware of it. Like if I say, if I have given any challan to the taxpayer, so before filing of return, like you will have to pay the self assessment tax of up to 10,000, but taxpayer will pay, it isn't 10, taxpayer will pay under that 300 only, even after filing the payable. I'm giving the example. So ideally it should have been paid under the head 400, but if the taxpayer has paid under the 300, the credit is not considered by the CPC. In self-assessment tax, it will their parameters are set under 300, any challan is reflected, no, then they will not consider. Under the head 400, anything is considered reflecting, then they will consider. It is the parameters are very set for the CPC, and accordingly we will have to take the necessary actions. Earlier, for even for the current year also, there was no option to get the challan rectification done. We had to go to the assessing officer's office to get the challan correction done. But now the CPC portal has introduced the challan correction option from AY 2020-21 onward. Before that, we'll have to contact to the jurisdictional assessing officer for correction of challan head or any other details. But for 2020-21 and onwards, we can uh, file the challan correction online also. And now what one more thing is very beneficial, that now the payment of any challan, any amount being paid to the income tax department is standardized. And as soon as I pay the amount, earlier it used to take 3 to 4 days or 1 or 2 days to get the challan generated. Now within fraction of seconds challan is generated, and I can use the details to fit in my income tax return. Like on the last day of return also, if I am paying the self assessment tax, I will be able to upload the return with the details, because the challan will generate within a fraction of seconds. Now, this is also, we have seen the one part of incorrect outstanding demand reflecting on the portal. This is the second one. If the if demand is reflecting on the income tax portal is incorrect, and the wrong interest is being charged, or the demand is already adjusted against the refund, but still reflecting on the portal, we'll have to contact to the demand facilitation center and update them about this technical error. See, if a wrong interest is being charged, then there must be any technical error to it, because of which the wrong interest is being charged. So we'll have to contact to this demand facilitation center and update them regarding the same with some documentary proofs. We can mail them on the mail ID provided on the I think third or fourth slide. I have provided the mail ID on which we can provide them the documents also, and get it updated from them. And as soon as it is updated, the demand facilitation center sends the auto generated mail with the revised amount of demand or revised amount of interest to the assessee. Or if it is nullified, if I have paid the demand and if it is nullified by the department, this demand facilitation center will also send the mail regarding it also. With this, I conclude my presentation, and I sincerely thank you all for your time and patience. If there is any query or any questions, please.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Anyone has any query? I think Hiral Bhai has mentioned in the chat box about some how to adjust the. I think it is deleted, but
Chat box.
Hiral Bhai, I think you raised something in your chat box.
No. See, Purva, now, Purva, my question was, my query was, कि चलो, मतलब for the general audience. Now, if there is a stay, you said कि obtain a stay by paying 20% demand. Now, there is no stay which is available. 20% demand cannot be paid because it is a high-pitched demand. Maybe I paid 5% and I want to opt for a stay. I applied to the assessing officer for the stay. The officer rejected the claim. Then what should I do?
See, if officer has rejected my claim for stay of demand, then ideally the demand should have been paid within 30 days. Then it will get adjusted. In that case, on portal we cannot do. Because if I have the stay order, then I am correct from my side that I have the stay order copy with me that I need not pay more than 20%. But in case I do not have this stay order copy, then I can request the higher authorities to grant me the stay, because as you mentioned, if the demand is high pitch demand, like if my demand is in crores, then to pay that 20% is also difficult to the assessee. In that case, if my assessing officer has rejected my application for stay of demand, I can request to the higher authorities also for the stay of demand. And as soon as I get the
Principal.
principal CIT, and as soon as or what I can do is I can request for the early hearing. So if I request for the early hearing also, then also my matter gets concluded. The span in which my appeal is concluded, it gets shorter. But if I have the copy of stray order, then the additional 80% which they are adjusting is wrong on the part of CPC portal. That should not be adjusted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mahesh Bhavna wants to raise something. Yeah, Mahesh, go ahead.
Sir, good evening, ma'am. Lecture was very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Second thing, I wanted to ask whether we have filed a manual application for a correction of TDS.
Okay.
There was some cases where partly salary was paid by one of the TAN holder and second by another holder. But we used to get one from 16. Okay. In that cases, what department had made that CP demand has raised. We have filed manual application. Can this manual application be helpful to make a demand nil?
Definitely, like the demand is reflecting on the portal. So when you raise the grievance, you can attach that copy. So you are saying that the TDS is being deducted by two different employers.
Yes.
If I'm getting you right.
Yes.
It is deducted by two different employers, and the TDS is reflecting on the one pan only.
Yeah.
But then the demand is being raised for what reason? I didn't get the exact.
He was employed at two other different stations.
Okay.
First station was another and second was another.
Okay.
Now the another person, second person has give all the TDS details in second one.
Okay.
Of first one also and second one also. Okay. Accordingly, we have file showing the second TDS details.
Okay.
We have claimed TDS.
Okay, so there's an extra TDS reflecting in his 26 As.
Not extra. While filing return, we have claim on second TDS.
Okay.
Okay. And the TDS has shown less in first return.
Got it. Then definitely you have filed for the manual correction of this. Meanwhile, you can raise the grievance attaching the copy of the manual correction which you have filed. You can attach that copy also to the portal, and you can contact the CPC also to update them.
Okay.
That we have done this also. And in grievance also, we have the option to raise the grievance to the AO also, and to the e-filing help desk also. See, if as you are saying that if this pertains to any earlier years, like say for 15 16 or 14 15 or earlier years, then you'll have to raise that grievance to the AO.
Okay.
Like grievance addressing to the AO, that assessing officer will resolve your grievance like that way. And if it is relating to the nearby years like 20 21 22, then you can raise the grievance to the e-filing help desk.
Okay. Thank you.
And it will definitely be helpful. Once you raise the grievance, it is the responsibility of the CPC portal or the assessing officer to look into it and to get the matter resolved.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Purva, whenever we are having any issues and we contact to this grievances center, so every time, for example, if I have one issue, I can talk to them. Then they will say, okay, you make the grievances. But many times it happens the grievances have not been resolved. They are just putting the thing to be resolved. And when we are contacting again, then again there's some other person is going to come, not the same person. So the person coming is very varied. So every time we need to ask them the query, or we need to tell them the query every time to a different person. So is there any solution that a person who are already what happened that we have spoke the person, they have told you put the grievances, and that grievances we can able to sort it out. But unfortunately, it is not possible for him to sort it out. Then again we talk to the contact officer. Again the other person will go to come. Now how to deal with this type of issue and all? Is there any a universal person के एक particular query किसी को गया तो वही solve करेगा कि what is your can you tell us the insight on that?
So as you are saying, I have faced the same problem. For only single issue, I have contacted CPC many a times, and every time I have talked to the different person. See, if we see from the CPC perspective, it is like they are the help desk team. See, if we raise any ticket number or a grievance number, we can give the grievance number to them. See, I have already contacted, and my grievance number is this or my ticket number is this. We can give the reference to them. But again, to get the matter, in a much easier way or in a simpler way, it is better if we explain the matter to them, because they are also very technical team. They won't be looking into the things like, okay, you have said this to that person, this to that person. So this is the limitation we have. But if we see from the CPC perspective, it is also a help desk team. They have not bifurcated like jurisdiction wise, or say so that for this number of areas, this person will be contacting person, or this person will be the contacting person. The management is different from their end also. But definitely, if I have raised any ticket for any technical issue, or I have raised any grievance, we can definitely give the reference of the number to them, so it will be easier for them also to refer to the matter.
Okay. Yeah. Anil Pandya wants to say. Yeah, Anil bhai.
Yes, Alok bhai, so sorry for joining a little late. I had another meeting. I just have one question that I don't know, somehow I find that the demand raised for the year AY 9 and 10, and while doing the transfer from the manual to the computerized, I mean, there are some issues which has been not been fitted properly or what. I'm seeing some demand coming in, and now I'm seeing that all my previous files from 2002 onwards, everything is open. So how is that possible? Can they open that files and suddenly, because we don't keep the records, and do we need to keep challenge and everything for 10, 20 years?
For 9, 10, demand is reflecting, you are saying that.
Yeah.
In
the subsequent years, otherwise it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. See, there are cases demand of 2002-3 are also reflecting on the portal. See, income tax portal, as we say, it is an computerized portal. So if there is any demand raised by the rights, rectification rights for say 2009-10 will be definitely with the assessing officer. So assessing officer, if assessing officer has raised any demand, then it will definitely be reflect on the income tax portal. But till time we don't get it resolved from the rectified from the assessing officer, it will reflect on the income tax portal. So first we have to get it rectified from the assessing officer. And for 910, if demand is there, it will definitely be under 143(1) or intimation only. I have seen many cases that the demand of 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10 are there, and it is of process. It is determined under intimation. But copy of intimation is not shared to the assessee, because at that point of time returns were processed manually, and taxpayer is not aware of much of this technicality part. So there are cases where the copy of intimation is not with us, so we'll have to proceed from the beginning only. So I will have to write the letter to the assessing officer for getting the first copy of intimation, so that we can understand where the demand is raised. Then we'll have to provide them the details like copy of TDS, and in many cases, like in 85% of the cases, it is raised only because the credit is not given, because at that point of time everything was in the paper manner. So the TDS certificates, the advance plan,
we have not preserved the records of those 20 years. So now what is our solution?
May I share something?
As
yes.
per the IT, I mean 6 to 7 years is a maximum that they can open the books, and we need to keep the preserve books of accounts and all. So now in such cases, what to do?
In such cases, I have provided, I have talked, either if it is a minor amount, then it is better to 2-3,000 we can pay it and close it off. But if the amount is much higher, then we'll have to request to the assessing officer. And if we don't submit any proof to the assessing officer, I have seen that they won't agree to it. Like, we'll have to submit any kind of some sort of supporting documents to our contentions. Because if we see from their perspective also, how will they give us the credit if we don't have any proof of it? I'll have to submit some kind of evidence that this credit belongs to me.
So that's the only thing which Anil Bhai asking Purva. Now, see, for example, of the previous year, 2009, 10 or 8, 9, if they suddenly come out with the earlier portal was there. That time, this type of things was not there. Now, suddenly in this portal, we get this type of demand of 8767 78. So now, tell me if you know that has been raised by the assessing officer, or that has been coming system directly, or how this function will be work, how they get this demand.
What happens now for 910 demand will not be sorry sir.
एक मिनट बोलिए
sorry sir.
Can I share something, Alok bhai?
एक मिनट पूर्वा जी को खत्म करके आप शेयर करिए. Don't worry. हाँ बोलिए पूर्वा जी.
हाँ. So as I was saying, for 910 demand will not be determined right now. The demand जैसे हम देखते हैं, for 910 demand is determined at the time of processing of 910 का return. But many a times the taxpayer is not aware about it. For 910 demand cannot be generated in this year. For 910 demand is generated at the processing of return at that time only.
Okay.
Right now it is time, but right now the assessing officer cannot generate the demand for 910 or 5-6. Right now demand can be generated. The assessing officer has to see the limitation also, the time limits also. 4 years, 10 years, 6 years, whatever the criteria is, the assessing officer has to be within that criteria only. They cannot indiscriminately generate demand for any year. As I said earlier, 910 ka demand is generated at the time of processing of 910, of which taxpayer was not aware about it. And if you ask for the copy of intimation, they will provide you wo time ka wo date ka intimation in which you can see that demand.
So you mean to say that this demand which is now coming is not done by assessing officer, but the CPC portal is some type of, they are coming from portal only. But where EO is knowing that assessing officer knows this thing, that is coming time bar, and now suppose if we can rectify, if I want to rectify the 910, I don't want, it's already time bar, forget. I don't want to give any challan and everything. It's already time bar. Can AO rectify this thing? I just want to ask you, if I go to AO and file the application, or if I go to CPC and submit the responses, that this is already time bar demand. Now you cannot raise it. Okay. So can CPC rectify this thing, or they can resolve this thing, or what's your experience on that?
If demand is under 143(1) intimation now, and if it is relating to 910 now, I'll definitely have to write to the assessing officer, and assessing officer has all the rights to rectify that demand.
Okay.
And once the assessing officer has passed the rectification order, assessing officer will also update the same in their record, so that their records will get updated in the CPC portal. It takes time. I agree, it takes time, but as soon as assessing officer has rectified the demand, and it may take few months or so also, but the demand will get nullified from the income tax portal, because the assessing officer will intimate the CPC, and CPC will now then again re-verify it and make the demand nil. But assessing officer has right to rectify the demand.
So we need to write to AO first, and we have to convince the AO. Okay, and then we'll go to CPC portal, and then
Yes.
okay.
If you say now, if I say from like now, from this year now, from 16, 17, and if we go backwards, all the rectification rights are transferred to the assessing officer.
Okay. Okay.
So if demand it relates to any of the years, and if CPC is allowing, see, sometimes what happens now, due to technical error, or we can say due to any other factor, sometimes the CPC portal allow us to file the online rectification. But if I say from 16, 17 or backwards, CPC will never allow us to file the rectification online. We'll always have to go to the assessing officer, because the rectification rights are now transferred to the assessing officer. We'll have to follow up with them only.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mahadiji, please share.
Yeah. Can I share something?
Yeah, please go
That
ahead.
how this could be nullified. And
Yeah,
I have done it. For assessment year 1-2, I had filed RTI application asking them that give me the proof of service of demand. Okay. Whatever demand is outstanding in the books or on portal, I asked him, give me proof of service of demand. And then I filed RTI thereafter. Okay. And they on their own nullified all this demand. Like this, I had done 25 cases.
Very good. So you're filing the RTI application, and that way they are.
Yeah. This is a very cumbersome procedure, what madam has explained, because it depends on the mercy of department.
But you have filed the RTI application to.
But it is our right, statutory right.
Okay, but this is a mercy. Yeah. Why have you filed to the assessing officer for RTI application?
Yeah. Okay. No, I am then filing to the PG portal also. First, I am doing trying RTI. Then I am trying RTI appeal, if not dispose of. Normally, it gets disposed of after filing RTI appeal.
Okay, thank you, Bharat. Yeah. Purva, one more question in chat box. Can you able to see the chat box?
From Sagar.
Yeah.
Today's credit of April 2000. See, if the employer has not TDS credit of Kingfisher Airline, I will just read the question out loud. Yeah. TDS credit of AY 1011 of Kingfisher Airline employee was not paid by the Kingfisher, and demand with interest was raised. How will CPC deal with this, and how will the assessee get the credit? See, first thing, if we say income tax officer, like income tax department, or if we say CPC portal, online portal, if the credit is given to the assessee, then only the CPC will be able to give the credit to the assessee. If my employer has deducted TDS but has not paid to the government, then the credit has not been, given on my PAN number. So in that case, I'll definitely have to, follow up with the Kingfisher only, because my TDS has been deducted, but if it is not paid to the government, how the government will give me the credit of it? In that case, I'll definitely have to, fight with the Kingfisher for the TDS credit.
Okay, fine. Any other questions everybody has? Dilip bhai?
Can I raise a question?
Bolo, Alok bhai.
Please.
There is a demand on the income tax portal on behalf of, as you took the example at Kingfisher, government has deducted, means there are college professors, and the government had deducted TDS. And earlier, all of us know how before traces came into picture, So that is not reflecting in the 26 AS, and the demand is there. So is there any other way apart from following up with the administration? Because again, that is also a government organization that doesn't work properly. So any other way out of it?
Purva?
Sir?
Yeah, I repeat the question.
Okay, should I repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So similar to the Kingfisher case, there are college professors who used to get salary from the government. TDS was deducted from the aided college. So TDS deducted by the government itself. TDS not reflected earlier years before traces and everything came in.
So before 2009-10.
Yes. So any way how to rectify the demands?
Yes. If it is before 2009-10, we can definitely ask for the TDS certificates. They are, obligated to provide the TDS certificates, and the department is also, required to accept the TDS certificates. For before, if it is before 2009-10, we will definitely will have to submit the TDS certificates, and the department will accept the same. But when it comes to 2000, after 2009-10, there are cases where the assessing officer, see, in 2000, you're not audible, sir.
Yeah, you're audible.
No, you continue. Sorry.
Okay. So, if the TDS is not reflecting on Form 26 AS, like in 2000, from 2009-10, 26 AS came into the picture. But if we say for 2009-10 or 10-11 also, it was in the process of streamlining. So there are cases where the TDS credit is not reflecting in Form 26 AS, but we have the TDS certificate with us, like with the correct PAN, correct TAN, everything. But assessing officer is not accepting it, stating that why it is not reflecting in Form 26 AS. But it is, we can say this is a drawback. Like if we have the TDS certificate, but still government is not accepting it, only because it is not reflecting in my Form 26 AS. But it is not reflecting because of some, at that point of time, it can be due to many reasons. Like that time it was in the process of streamlining the whole data, compiling all the data, reflecting on the 26 A's. For these 2 years, we are facing this issue that the assessing officer is not accepting at the prima facie. He will immediately reject, that it is not reflecting in Form 26 as I cannot rectify it karke. But if we, emphasis on that factor, that if we have the TDS certificate, for before 9-10, they'll have to accept it. But after 9-10, if we emphasize on that matter, that we have the TDS certificate, original TDS certificate, if we submit, or what one more thing we can do is we can give them the indemnity bond, that this credit belongs to me. As the Anil sir also asked, that if we don't have any credit, like I don't have any proof of credit I have claimed, because it was relating to the, much earlier year, then we can talk to the assessing officer, and we can submit them the indemnity bond, that this credit we definitely will have to submit some sort of supporting, and with that we can submit the indemnity bond, that this credit belongs to me, and I will be responsible in future if this founds to be, false. Like we can submit that indemnity bond, and in 99.9% of the cases, assessing officer accepts it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, if anybody has any issues, wonderful presentation. We have already put the chat box. You can join that group to get the PPT presentation and all. So all are requested to kindly see that particular chat box. WhatsApp group is there. Go for that. And Purva, I think as usual, it was very nice. Anil Bhai is there. Anil Bhai, he was.
I'm there, yes.
Present. Yeah, Anil Bhai, please do your remarks, and then we have, after that, Dilip Bhai will close the session. Yeah, Dilip, Anil Bhai.
Yeah, yeah, Purva, this was really excellent, informative session. We enjoyed a lot. Sorry, I just didn't join in the early 10 minutes. I had another meeting, but this was really very informative. And all my land members and non-lands, everybody will help with this. And we are going to stream this onto the various portals, even on the Facebook and the social media, including the Lions International. So this will be definitely a good mileage and information to the members of Lions at large. Thank you so much, Purva.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Purva. Once again, I think it was really a need of our, and thank you, Dilip Bhai, who have taken up the pain. We have to have this type of webinar. Also, the deadline of income tax filing is right now going on. You are under pressure, but still we got the enough participants to listen for that. So thank you, Purva, on behalf of Lions Club, and thank you, my team. Mukesh Bhai is already there. Mukesh Bhai, Hiral, and all. So thank you so much.
बहुत बढ़िया, यानी काम की बात बताई जो बहुत यूजफुल है.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The session was very informative and educative. So we are thankful for your
आवाज ब्रेक था ये. I think आवाज दिलीप भाई आवाज तुम्हारा ब्रेक था ये. So thank you so much, Purva, once again. Yeah. Lastly, Hiral bhai, concluding karena.
No, nothing. It is just that Purva, after our experience of so many years, I would just say now we would require your appointment with the entire bunch of cases.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
you can
Really
give.
informative, and it was real fun listening to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
This
Thank
was
you all.
maiden speech, but she was presenting herself as if she is a very seasoned speaker, and we wish her that she becomes the seasoned speaker.
Now you can be at the helpline. We can call you now. Now no grievances
Yes,
on the CPC
definitely.
portal. Direct
Definitely.
ticket raised to the Purva only. Purva will decide that. Oh, this is one thing we
Definitely, sir.
know. Talk to Purva. Forget the interface portal. We can directly through Lions and through FSD. We can put it that if any issues are there, you can talk to Purva. Okay.
Yeah, very in-depth knowledge and studies you have done. Really excellent.
Dilip bhai, I just want to mention you that she was worked with the backend department of the CPC portal. She's already worked for that. That is the reason we call her. So we can at least come to know कि कहाँ से notice आती है और demand कहाँ से आता है. That's the matter. Okay. Thank you everybody. Thank you all of you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
you, Anil bhai.
Thank you so much.
you.
Thank you, Purva, once again.
Thank you, sir.